Neon hissed above the rain-light diner. Coffee breathed. Forks clicked. Rain stitched thin threads across the window. Emma tightened her apron. Double shift. Empty fridge. Evelyn waiting with the neighbor, nose at the glass, watching for the moon. Have you ever counted rent in your head while you pour coffee? John, the manager, tapped the ticket rail. Refill on 6, and extra syrup, he said. His voice was tired enough to limp. Table 6 glowed with money. Robert wore a gray suit with a watch that kept perfect time for people who never ran out of it. His date scrolled her phone. Thick ribeye, half-eaten. Garlic mash untouched. I'm done, Robert said, flicking 2 fingers. Box it. Actually, nah. Toss it. Emma looked at the plate. She saw a purple lunchbox. A little hand opening it and finding a story instead of food. She glanced at the taped sign over the pass where Sophia slid plates through steam. No staff take home, new policy. Her throat tightened. The sentence came out small. John, she said, can I take the leftovers for my daughter? Time tripped. A spoon kept ringing in the sudden quiet. Have you felt a room lean away from you? John followed her eyes to the sign. Rules were easy until they met a child's name. He winced. Emma, I can't, he said. Robert smirked. If you can't afford food, maybe waitressing isn't your calling, he murmured. His date took a photo of her untouched dessert. Heat climbed Emma's neck. She set the plate down, picked it up, set it down again. Silence pooled. She wanted the floor to open a gentle mouth and swallow her pride. The bell over the door chimed. Boots. Leather. A broad-shouldered biker stepped in, rain jewels clinging to his jacket. Michael, read the patch. He carried his helmet like it was an oath. Conversations thinned to threads. He took the counter stool nearest Emma. Set the helmet down with a soft, final sound. Whose daughter? He asked, voice low. Emma lifted her chin a few brave millimeters. Mine, she said. Evelyn. Michael's gaze moved from Emma's shaking hands to Robert's greasy abundance to the mean little sign. Box it, he told Sophia, nodding at the ribeye. And the mash. And anything on this table money thought it could throw away. Robert laughed once. Excuse me. Michael didn't turn. He peeled bills from a weathered wallet and slid them to John. How much to bend a rule toward a hungry kid? The diner held its breath. Do you recognize the second a stranger decides what kind of person he is? Sophia reached for a box. John hesitated, torn between ink and a trembling name. Emma stared at the floor, at the cracks in the tile that looked like maps to better nights. Michael's attention snagged on the small locket at Emma's throat. Scratched gold. An oval of memory. Cole, he said quietly, pointing. Was your husband Daniel? Emma froze. Yes, she whispered. How? Michael exhaled like a man setting down a weight. You fed my boy once, when I had nothing. You wrote his name on a lid. His eyes shimmered. I kept it. The door chimed again, engines grumbled outside, and Michael thumbed a message to someone, saying, Bring the crew. We're paying our debt tonight. The lid was soft along the edges, the Sharpie faint but stubborn. Michael pulled it from his jacket like a small relic and set it on the counter between the money and the counter. For Noah, warm it slowly, the handwriting said. A tiny heart hid as a period. Emma touched her locket without meaning to. I remember that night, she said. You had a split lip and a ripped sleeve. You asked if leftovers counted as stealing. She breathed in. I said it only counts as stealing if your heart is closed. Michael almost smiled. You wrote his name right, he said. I read it to him softly. Noah fell asleep with a fork in his hand. Robert snorted. We're doing charity with doggy bags now, he said. This is a business. Sophia slid the boxed ribeye toward Emma, but held on until John nodded. The metal shelf clicked. The rain hushed as if it wanted to listen. John looked at the sign. At Emma. At the lid. His fingers twitched toward the tape. "Michael, I can't get written up over this," he said softly. "The owner wants less waste, more profit." "He is standing right here," Robert said, tapping his watch. "And he'd love to see some discipline." A murmur rippled through the booths. Emma's stomach dropped. Of course. Money didn't just sit at table 6. Money owned the chair. Michael turned. His voice stayed calm. "Discipline is not starving a child to keep a policy neat." He looked back at Emma. "When you gave me that food, I was 2 hours from calling an old number. I didn't call. Because you looked at me like I was still worth it." He thumbed his phone. "Sophia Reyes," he said when the line clicked. "Bring the riders and the tubs. Rainlight Diner. We're funding a freezer and a month of groceries." He listened, nodded. "Yeah. The landlord's here. Bring receipts." He hung up. Robert laughed. "Quieter now. You think a pack of wet bikers intimidates me," he said. "I raise rent with a pen." "Pens sign donations, too," Michael answered. He slid more bills over. "Start a tab called Plate It Forward. Every untouched plate gets boxed with respect. No questions asked." He looked at the room. "Anyone here ever had more month than money?" The answer was obvious without words. The teen in the hoodie stopped pretending not to listen. The older couple held hands tighter. Even the coffee machine sighed. Sophia, our Sophia behind the grill, tore a sheet from a pad and wrote "Plate It Forward" in block letters. Grease smoke curled around the words. Emma finally met Robert's eyes. "If you need me to be small to balance your numbers," she said, "I can't." Her voice shook, but it still made a clean sound. A horn rumbled outside. Then, another. Michael's mouth tilted. "Night crew," he murmured. "We used to be the people getting boxed meals. Now we fill the boxes." John pulled the tape. The sign sagged. He hesitated for half a second. He tore it down. Robert slapped his card onto the counter. "You'll regret turning my diner into a soup line," he said. "I can make your life very hard." Michael set the old lid beside the shiny card. "You already did," he said. To her. To the kid with the purple lunchbox. "Tonight we make it easier." The door blew open with wet air and humming engines. 6 riders stepped in with plastic tubs and a boxed mini-freezer, and a gray-eyed woman asked, "Who's Emma?" They came in quiet and sure, boots dripping, jackets wet, arms full of help. Rice, beans, eggs, pasta, grocery vouchers clipped with purple. A dorm-sized freezer squeaked on a dolly, a silver cube of cold hope. The gray-eyed woman shook off rain and flashed a badge. "Sophia Reyes," she said. "Night Riders Community Chapter. Different Sophia," she added with a grin toward the grill. Laughter loosened the room. John stared at the freezer like it was a miracle. "Power's finicky in storms," he said. "Last month we lost half the ice cream." "Brought a small generator," Sophia Reyes replied, tapping the dolly. "She hums like a kitten. We wire it safe." Robert folded his arms. "This is trespassing with props," he said. "You don't drop charity in my business without a permit." Michael didn't rise to it. He slid a handbill under Robert's fingers, donation receipts, a 501c3 number. "You can call the number," he said. "Or you can call the part of you that remembers the busboy your father used to be." Robert blinked. Something flickered. He scowled. Sophia at the grill plated a grilled cheese and slid it to Emma. "Eat," she ordered. "1 bite. Then breathe." Emma obeyed. The first mouthful was a wordless prayer. Have you ever let something warm tell your heart it can stay? Riders stacked groceries behind the counter. The teen in the hoodie stood, shuffling. "Can I, carry something?" Michael nodded him onto the dolly handle. John taped a fresh page over the pass. Plate it forward, ask if you need, give if you can. The words looked brave. The diner exhaled. Robert planted himself between the freezer and the outlet. Move that. No, John said, surprising himself. We're feeding people. Robert's smile sharpened. I am your landlord. Rent reviews next week. Play Saint, and I'll make sure you're selling hot dogs out of a truck by July. Silence took a chair. The rain grew louder. Emma's stomach fell. Have you watched a good moment get cornered? Michael stepped forward, gentle as gravity. Raise it if you need to, he said. We'll bridge them. We've faced bigger men than numbers. He turned to the room. Anybody here been pushed by someone who thought money made them tall? Hands rose like small flags. The trucker. The nurse. The retired teacher. Courage spreads. Sophia Reyes lifted her clipboard. We have rent relief, legal help, and spare fridges. We came ready. She looked at Robert. Bully or join? Robert's jaw worked. Take the freezer, he said finally, quieter. But you're not turning my diner into a charity ad. Michael set his helmet down again. Soft. Certain. We're turning it into a place where rules serve people. He handed Emma a sealed envelope. 3 months of bridge money. For Evelyn's mornings. Emma shook her head, tears burning. I can't. You already did, Michael said. You paid forward when I couldn't pay back. He coaxed the envelope into her hand. Her fingers closed like it knew the way home. The bell jangled from the hallway. Small footsteps. A sleepy voice. Mom. Evelyn padded in, hair tangled, socks inside out, eyes huge at the helmets and boxes. She hugged Emma's leg and peered up at the riders like they were a parade that got lost and decided to stop for pie. Michael crouched to her height, lifted a child-sized helmet painted in purple stars, and asked, Do you like the moon, Evelyn? Evelyn touched the helmet like it might purr. Purple stars winked. It follows me, she said. The moon. It walks home with me. Michael's smile softened. It followed us too, he said. We built this for a brave kid we hadn't met yet. We guessed right. He glanced at Emma. Is she allowed to try it on? Emma's laugh trembled. If she doesn't sleep in it, it's a miracle. Sophia Reyes knelt with a roll of stickers. We can add a name. Evelyn, the little girl spelled, tongue peeking out with the effort. The letters curved across the back. Robert stood by the door, watching a scene money had never bought. Children don't belong in diners this late, he muttered. John didn't look up from coiling the generator cord. Hunger doesn't check the clock, he said. Neither does kindness. Michael took a breath. Emma, he said quietly, I didn't tell you what happened after that night. I took your note home. I set it on the table. I made a promise out loud where someone could hear it. He nodded toward the helmet. That promise looks like this now. He held out a photo of a boy with paint on his fingers, grinning behind a purple frame. Noah, he said. 13. We build bikes on weekends. We call this color Moonbright. Evelyn's eyes sparkled. Like mine, she whispered. Like the moon that likes me. Emma cupped the old locket in her palm. Daniel wanted to teach her to ride in a straight line, and a kind one, she said. The locket warmed. A soft hush fell, the diner listening with both ears. Do you feel it? Robert broke it. This is sentimental noise, he said, but it lacked teeth. Bills are not bedtime stories. Sophia at the grill set a slice of cherry pie in front of him. Eat, she said. Sugar makes the truth easier to hear. The teen in the hoodie returned with cereal and coloring books. For the freezer, he announced, then to Evelyn. I put crayons in there. Purple ones. Michael faced Robert, steady. You wear a nice watch, he said. How much time did it take to forget the busboy your father was? Robert flinched. He stared at the pie. He used to come home with his shoes in a bag. Because he didn't want us to see the grease. He swallowed. He said being poor didn't make him invisible. He was right, Michael said. Tonight, we refuse invisibility. He turned. If you have leftovers, we'll box them with respect. If you have cash, stock the freezer. If you have skills, write them down. If you have nothing, you still have us. Hands moved, pens scratched. Names filled a sheet. Who I can help. Plumber. Tutor. Nurse. Bike fixer, rusty, but willing. An old man wrote, smiling. Thunder rolled. Lights flickered once. The room went black for a breath. Gasps. Evelyn's small hand found Emma's. Then, hum. The mini freezer glowed on its own line, a square of stubborn light. Michael lifted the cord. Generator, he said. Storms don't get to bully our food. From the doorway, trucks here with pantry boxes. The night riders moved. Robert stared at the glowing freezer. His voice was small. What if I postpone the rent review, he asked. 60 days. No increase yet. Emma met his eyes. That would be kind, she said. Not a favor. Kind. Robert set his card down, then, almost whispering to himself, said, Put a 0 behind my bill, as the storm finally softened. The storm gentled to a steady hush, like a lullaby. The jukebox woke itself and chose something soft and hopeful. The diner felt wider without adding a chair. John taped a new sign over the pass in thick, sure letters. Plate it forward night, ask if you need. Give if you can. He smoothed it with his palm. Emma finished her grilled cheese. Her hands had stopped shaking. She tucked the envelope into her apron pocket and kissed the top of Evelyn's head. Warm it slowly, she whispered and smiled at herself. Michael gathered the last of the receipts, the old lid, the photo. He didn't touch the locket. Some things you honor by leaving them be. Tomorrow at 10, he said to Emma. Groceries, clinic info, and a bike named Moonbright. Evelyn raised her new helmet for inspection. Will the moon keep up? She asked. It's small sometimes. It learns names, Michael said. It doesn't get lost. Robert hovered near the counter, awkward the way first apologies feel. He looked at the pie, at his watch, at the freezer. My trucks sit empty on Sundays, he said. Fridge units. If you need to move food, I can, he exhaled. I will. He slid his card to Sophia Reyes. Call me. Don't let me off the hook if I flake. Sophia Reyes clicked the card under her clip. Copy that, she said. We're annoyingly persistent. People wrote names on the Who I Can Help sheet. A violin teacher offered lessons. A barber offered back-to-school cuts. The teen in the hoodie wrote, I can carry heavy things. Sometimes the heaviest thing is a door. He opened it. John counted out of the till and matched Michael's cash with his own. House contribution, he said. I've been a rule follower my whole life. Feels good to follow a better one. Rules are ladders, Sophia Reyes said, wiping her clipboard. When they stop reaching people, we build new rungs. Evelyn tugged Michael's sleeve. Can I ride inside? Just to the jukebox. Tomorrow, Emma said, laughing. Shoes. Daylight. And Mom's heart ready. She looked at Michael. Thank you for keeping a lid most men would have thrown away. Michael lifted his helmet. You wrote a map on a piece of plastic, he said. It just took me a while to find the address. He turned to the room. One last ask, he said. When someone whispers a brave, quiet need, don't make them ask twice. Heads nodded. A soft yes threaded the air. The night riders filed out under umbrellas and stubborn chins. Engines murmured awake, not loud, just loyal. Robert held the door without being asked. The gesture looked new on him. Evelyn pressed her palm to the mini freezer window, watching cold breath curl and vanish. It's like a little moon, she said. It is, Emma agreed. A cold one that keeps dinner safe. She wrapped her arms around her daughter from behind, both of them looking at that square of light like a promise that finally knew their names. Michael paused in the doorway, rain turning to mist around the neon. He looked back once, eyes bright, grin easy. Moon bright at 10, he said. We'll make a straight line. And a kind one. He stepped into a night that wasn't so heavy. The bell chimed. The door swung shut. The diner breathed out. Not stunned. Not shocked. Full. Have you ever watched a room choose to be gentle? Would you have lifted your hand? What small ladder could you build, starting tonight, so someone else can climb out of a hard day?